All right. And I'm looking. Yep, the Rode mic is working. So, hello everybody. How are we doing? I think we have some information out there. We got some live folks out there. How you doing, Mike? Nikki, good to see you as well, sweetheart. We have, we did have Homer. I'm sure Homer will pop back. All right, Clinton can see me, and Frank Rizzo's here as well. I'm happy. I'm happy. As if you saw earlier, I was on Facebook, and hopefully we'll get some people to pop on over. It's always a struggle. It's always a struggle, but I hope that you all had a chance to listen to me do some rants. Kendall, good to hear from you as well. I was talking earlier, and before I open it up, yeah, Clinton, I'll be there. I'll be in Indianapolis. In fact, when I get done with this show, and I'm a little behind. Let me see. We've been on for I can't even really see. I'm going to be on till about for at least an hour, and I'm going to run into the Raider Bear show, and I apologize. I don't like doing that. I like to make sure I get out before Raider Bear's on. But I make sure that everybody that goes over to the Raider Bear, and I want to make sure that we do some of the positive points. Are there any positive points? That really remains to be seen. Now, I did the opening before. Indianapolis is a winnable game. All of these games have been winnable. The Raiders showed up for one quarter against Kansas City, and then they dropped off the face of the earth. Okay, which was upsetting. Last week in Minnesota, of which I had front row seats to a debacle, they didn't show up at all. The only really good play that they had was right in front of me was the flea flicker that I think it was Jacobs flicked it back to Carr, who threw to Nelson, who scored the touchdown right in front of me. And that was the only offense that I saw all day. Yes, they scored a cheap touchdown. It was a cheapie in the fourth quarter to make the score look close. But what was it, 34-14? They lost by 20 points. They didn't show up. And I'm hoping that they will show up soon. Now, they're up in Indianapolis. Indianapolis has got some injuries to their linebackers. They got some injuries to their best defensive back. Their best receiver is either has, was it a hamstring or another injury, but he's questionable. So the Raiders, if they play up to their capabilities, they can win. So we'll see. The Raiders have picked up some linebackers. One off of their practice squad, the other one off the Rams practice squad. We'll see if that makes a difference. Probably not likely. Markel Lee is on the IR. But we'll see what's going on. I'm going to make sure I'll have my phone here. So Google Hangouts is up. The phone is here. And it's available. So, yeah, well, T.Y. Hilton's not out, Clinton, but he was injured. So we'll see if that makes a difference. So having said that, let's do this. There we go. Line is open. 813-699-0834. 813-699-0834. I think I fixed all of the sound issues with the phone. Hopefully so. There was issues before, but we'll see. Remember, everybody's going to get, I might have to cut it down to 3 minutes, but everybody's going to get at least 3 minutes to talk. But remember, my throat is still sore. I did bring some extra lozenges. I have Ricola, plus some, Halls, or semi-Halls, but not really. But the line is open. Let's talk about that. Everybody's had some good thoughts so far. Homer, Kendall, call in. I want to hear from you because I want other people to hear your thoughts as well. Line is open, 813-699-0834. Okay. Ed Winchell, how you doing, brother? Good to hear from you.
Captain, shipmate Ed here.
How you doing, brother?
Not bad. How are you, my friend?
I'm trying to get through this. What do you call it? The cough. It's
You've had that a while now.
Yeah, I've had it for going on 3 weeks, and it's hard to get rid of. But it's unfortunate. But I'm gonna have to, what's the old expression? I'm gonna have to play hurt.
Of course. You can do it. You're young and strong, Jay. You're young and strong.
You're so full of it. How you doing there, Ed?
Listen, good, buddy. I just wanted to give you a couple points in my 3 minutes here. I won't be long because I know you're going to make the show short for Bear. But my analysis for this weekend against the Colts is that it could be a big turnaround weekend for them. There's no reason why. I mean, we obviously had a big hurdle against Kansas City, and the Minnesota, it could have gone either way.
Yeah.
I think this game is the give me. Basically, all they have to do is show up. I think that if Carr can throw a little better, I'm not saying go downfield. I'm just saying on the short routes that he's utilizing, hit him with the ball. Don't throw it above, behind. Hit him. I mean, there's been a lot of throws that just missed the mark last couple weeks. If he could lock that up and, it can really help the momentum and the attitude of the whole team and Gruden, and it can really be the start of a much better season with the win in Indy this weekend.
I think so. Like I said, now I've been saying each week that the games are winnable. But the Raider teams that have come out onto the field the last 2 weeks, okay, aside from the first quarter of the Kansas City game in Oakland where we were gangbusters, and then they must have taken some sort of a muscle relaxer at the end of the first quarter because they were not the same team overall. Now, again, they held Kansas City scoreless in the second half, and that was a good sign. But they were so lethargic, unenthused, and totally out of it last weekend. I was embarrassed sitting there. The Minnesota fans weren't dicks. I will say that. They were not dicks. They were really, really awesome. And if you can ever go see a game, if you're not going to see your Raiders play, and you want to see a game with a bunch of great fans, go to Minnesota and watch that. Watch the game. But they weren't dicks. But I was so disappointed with the lack of effort. It was hard to watch that game. I stood up and cheered twice, and it was for both touchdowns. And then the last time I stood up and cheered, it was like the Brooklyn, it's about effing time type of cheer for something to cheer about, because they did nothing the entire game. Nothing.
And that all falls on Gruden. Now, I've probably been the hardest critic of Carr, and everybody that reads my comments in Raider Nation knows that. But go back to game one. Who showed up in the third quarter? Nobody. The Raiders were having a hell of a first half. They didn't show up in the third quarter. And then they didn't show up again with Kansas City. Now, it goes back to coaching. If Gruden cannot get these kids up and kicking some butt, we're never going to win.
No.
And that falls on Gruden's. That's Gruden's job to do that.
Yeah, and I don't know what's going on, but they gotta snap out of it. They got to get out of this funk that I've seen the last 2 weeks, and unless they do something about it, it's going to be horrible. And I don't want to see another bad game by our Raiders. I don't want to see it. And so what do you think?
The only thing I think this weekend that can beat the Raiders, and that's the Raiders.
The only thing that can beat the Raiders are the Raiders this week?
Are themselves.
Yeah.
It's themselves. If they cannot go out there and do a reasonable job, they're not going to win. And it's up to them to pull it out. And if they don't, they're going to lose. It's very simple.
Right. I agree.
So Cap, I won't be on long because I'm sure you're going to have some other callers wanting to call in, and I don't want to take the time away from that.
Give me a score, and give me a score.
17-10.
Okay, and hopefully we're the ones up with the 17.
Yeah, 17-10 Raiders. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Hey, I'll hold you to that, Ed, and I'll be hoping that this, like I said, the Sad That after game show from my gal pals home, and we'll have a show after the game as well. So it's always good hearing from you.
Good chatting with you, my friend, and you be well and take care of that cough.
Okay. Hey, thanks again, brother. You take care.
All right, buddy. Bye-bye.
All right. That was Ed Winchell, who is predicting a Raiders win this weekend, 17-10. Bob Money, thanks for coming on. I think it all depends upon the play of Carr. I mean, this gentleman is going to be the catalyst. And I know that's cliche. I know it's cliche. But, there are teams that live off their defense. And, like the Ravens and the Ravens of old, even the Ravens of new. Who's got a really good defense? The Broncos of a couple years ago. Figure those teams out. It's not necessarily what the quarterback did. It's what the defense did. The Raiders are exclusively right now is how good is Derek Carr playing and how well he puts their offense into good situations. So, yes, I heard about who's going in for the halftime show. The J-Lo and what's her nose, the other Hispanic gal. That's going to be an entertaining show. Lots of jiggle. So I'm happy about that. Gruden's job put his foot in there behind so you don't play up there. Hey, Jerry Lopez, thank you for saying that. I agree. If you want to call in, hey, Bob Money, because you are a Niner fan, why don't you call in and talk about your team as well? They are 3-0. And Jimmy G is looking like the second coming of, well, I'm not going to say Montana, but I am going to say that he looks like he's the second coming of Y.A. Tittle, a good quarterback for the Niners. Because other than Montana, and I know you went to the Super Bowl with Kaepernick, but Kaepernick was not a great quarterback, never. But, call in about your Niners. We can talk about them. Line is open, 813-699-0834. Mike Sarah, team has to be motivated on their own. I agree. And, people need to remember that these are professional players. They got to put their big boy pants on, and they got to show up and play. Frank Rizzo, how you doing, brother? What's going on with you?
Show up and play.
Hello.
Are you there?
I'm here, Frank. Turn your what do you call it? Your background off, so I don't have to hear myself.
Yep, got it turned down.
Okay, how you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Other than the cough, which has been with me since week 1, I'm okay. I don't have a cold. I just have the cough, and I can't shake it.
Well, I want to talk about another guy that has been sick and a little bit injured, and I think is going to make a big difference this week, and that's Josh Jacobs.
Okay.
He was absent last week and the week before.
Well, remember, though, he was actually a yard short of getting 100 yards against Kansas City. So I wouldn't call him absent against Kansas City. He had a good game against Kansas City. He had 99 yards rushing. I'm not sure if I can't remember if he had a pass or not. But if you have about 100 yards, you're doing your job. Now, last week against Minnesota, he was sick. He lost 10 pounds. Somebody was telling me that there was a flu going around the locker room. Got it. That's going to take some. That's going to take some of you guys, or the team is not going to be up at their best. But Josh Jacobs, he still had a good YPC, but he wasn't a factor, and he needs to be a factor, both running the ball and catching the ball as well. And I think he needs, like you said, he needs to show up. And you think he's going to do that this weekend?
I do. Yeah, he was definitely. I don't think they used him because of the illness.
Yeah.
So
he didn't look up. He didn't look like himself. The hard.
I think he'll be featured a lot more this week, and I look for them to mix in Keelan Doss this week too.
Well, I hope so, because they got rid of Ryan Grant, and you have these young receivers that everybody's saying how the last couple years that we've had these old receivers that have not done anything, and they got rid of Jordy Nelson. They got rid of Cook, the tight end. They got rid of almost everybody that was on the team last year. They brought Marcel Aitman back, even though he's on the practice squad. They got younger overall, okay? J.J. Nelson is he's the old man of the receiver group. Terrell Williams is like, he's not old, but he's not young either. So we need to have these guys step up. Keelan Doss, Marcel Aitman, if he gets a chance to go to the 53. They need to build up these young receivers and see what we have in them. And I think that this is the time to do that.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be so much easier with Jacobs back this week, and I think he's going to have a big game. That's just going to open up the passing game.
Right. And somebody was saying,
and let's not beat up Carr a whole lot. I mean, the guy was like 73% completion rating.
But I understand that, but he was missing a lot of easy passes, and he was even though he was at 73%, a lot of those were the 3rd and 6, and he was throwing to a guy that was 2 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. Percentage-wise, he was up there, but it was the capabilities of the throw. It was the result of the throw, and he wasn't doing what he needed to do. So
no, he looked like crap. I'm not going to – yeah, he looked like crap. But you have to remember, Carr is who he is. He needs to build rapport. He thrives on those timing routes. So you remember back in 2016 when we had Crabtree, he would throw to him all the time in 3rd downs, touchdowns. The more he builds up rapport with these young receivers and the new guys around him, the better they're going to get. So I'm not calling this season a total loss just yet.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't at all. Okay, Frank, so what do you think is going to happen? And give me, you can give me a score if you want to, but give me what you feel, which you kind of have already, saying that Jacobs is going to be coming back. Any further insight and out the door what you think?
No, not really. Just I look for Jacobs to have a big game. I look for them to mix in Doss, and I think we're going to have a good game this week.
And a win. Okay, well, we're 2 for 2 on wins as far as predictions, so hopefully we keep to that. And hey, you take care of yourself, Frank. Look for me after the game when I get back to the house, and we'll do this again after the game.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jeff.
All right, you take care, brother.
You too. Bye.
All right, that's Frankie Rizzo, not the old mayor of Philadelphia, who wasn't he also a jerky boy, Frank Rizzo? I know that Frank Rizzo, when I was a kid, when I lived in Philadelphia, Frank Rizzo was the mayor of, technically, Frank Rizzo was the police commissioner, and then he became the mayor of Philadelphia. And Frank Rizzo was a hard ass. I'm not saying that our Frank Rizzo is a hard ass. Frank Rizzo is a good guy, the guy that calls in. So more power to him, and hopefully we'll get more calls. We got folks out there. We got Mike, Sarah in Misery still. Homer is back in Texas. Clinton Lawrence, where are you at, brother? We got to hear from you as well. Jimmy Farrell, I know, I think he's back in New York. I hope you're feeling better. And Kendall Hansen, always good to hear from them. Of course, my lady, Nikki. Love Nikki. Love Nikki. Such an awesome lady. And congratulations to Nikki, who also has re-upped on her position within the DC Metro Raider Boosters as one of the board members. So congrats to her for doing that. Love for some Nikki. Line is open, 813-699-0834. It's 10:30. We've been on. I can't see how long we've been on. That's the one thing that I'm bummed about, because I was on a little late. But get the word out. If you're watching this, take the link and post it to those people on Facebook. Make sure that they're watching us. And let's see who this is. Mr. Raider Homer, how you doing, brother? Good to hear from you.
Pretty good. How are you?
Other than the voice and the coughing, I'm fine, partner. I'm fine.
Man, you out there running around seeing all kinds of games, dude. That's awesome.
Well, this is my last week until I get 2 weeks off, and to be very honest, I need the 2 weeks off because I've been remiss in getting things done with my mom's house, and I've just been so busy. So I actually need the time off these next 2 weeks to go ahead and do some things, and hopefully it'll be a good time. I might actually get some rest too. I'm very tired. Very tired.
Get some rest. Some rest.
I will. What's up with you?
So that game, right? That game was bad, and so was the second quarter versus the Chiefs. But when I'm looking at it, and I know every Raider fan, gets tired of excuses. A lot of Raider fans are tired of excuses. But what I'm looking at is that 3-and-out, right, that turned into a touchdown with the help of two 15-yard penalties. That changed the game. It changed the momentum of the game. All right, and then it got out of hand quickly, especially when Carr had the happy feet and Miss Waller, right, and then the safety slid in and got the interception, and then they really took off from there.
Yeah.
But see, when people start saying Gruden needs to change his play calls and stuff like that, well, when you're up 21 points, right, that defense is going to be dropping back. They're going to be looking for the pass. So that's what I'm saying is the lack of execution, the screen passes, the people getting out there and blocking, or or even just being able to make one person miss, because that's a huge part when you're playing on those underneath routes and being able to make your guy miss. Because Gruden, if you remember Gruden from way back in the day, his first stint, right? Remember he had Kaufman and Wheatley, and both of those guys had 1,000 yards rushing, right? Remember that?
Yeah.
In the same year, that's Gruden's style of play. Control the clock, run it down, score points, yes, but control the clock. Right now he's not getting the point. And you say Derek Carr this and Derek Carr that, and no more excuses. But look, he had two guards again. Richie Incognito came back, played well, but Debbie, he was missing a lot. And then even Colton Miller got beat that one time when he was supposed to go inside when the chip was supposed to be on the outside. That's what I mean by lack of execution. The players aren't executing on small stuff that are turning into this big ordeal. And people are like, well, Carr can't go deep. That's not true. We all remember him being able to go deep. Remember when Carr first came in, the biggest knock on him was working the back shoulder on the 10-yard, 15-yard out, up and out, working that back shoulder on the sideline. And then so you've seen Carr progress, right? Yeah, well, I mean, in a certain sense, right? Trying to do different things, not just always being so one-dimensional as far as what his strong throws are, or his best, where he works best is within his the receiver's route tree. Right, and so, but it's just not coming together. it's not all coming together for him. And a lot of people are saying, well, he needs it to be perfect. Well, a lot of people need it to be perfect. That doesn't mean that he's not capable of winning. It's
Right.
just it's not clicking right now.
I will.
And you would hope that.
I will say that it's a combination of, because honestly, we don't know, and this is the proverbial what is really going on. Is it really the play calling, or is it Carr checking out to his alternate routes because the guys that are his first, and normally he doesn't get to his second read. He goes to his first read and then he dumps. And that is true. He goes to his first read, and if the guy's covered, he dumps. And he needs to not do that because he's got to look. He does have the happy feet, and he needs to make.
Yeah, I saw that.
He needs to make sure that he goes to the first read and get that intestinal fortitude, man. Sack up, sit in the pocket, or move to the outside if you're getting pressure. But look for that second read and look for that third read. And he's not doing that. And that's unfortunate right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of that, though, is not having enough time. And, yes, he does get those happy feet. He is skittish. I mean, the guy's been through a lot. I mean, don't forget, right? Max Crosby got called for a roughing the passer that changed that course of that game, too, right?
It did. It
and
changed
then Derek Carr gets hit in the throat.
Right. It changed the whole temperament of the game.
So Derek Carr, we're not getting those calls. We're not catching those breaks. They're always going against us right now. That's a major factor. When the referees are missing calls that should be helping you and throwing ticky-tack calls that are helping the other team, that kills that motivation. That's probably why those guys get down. It feels like an uphill battle. No matter how hard you practice, now you're facing an injury bug, and the referees are helping the other team. And then you're seeing your quarterback get smacked in the face after the ball is well out of his hands, and they don't even throw that. That's a huge statement from the referee. And I know a lot of people hate hearing excuses right now, but hey, that's the truth, man. Those are facts, And it is a fact that Derek Carr gets happy feet. Man, but I challenge anybody to go play some street ball and get hit hard, and then act like you don't have a happy feet yourself,
Okay.
I mean,
brass tacks, Homer. Brass tacks. I want to try to keep it flowing. Brass tacks. What's going to happen this weekend, and what's going to happen this weekend in your mind, and who's going to win and why?
Well, if you're saying that the Colts secondary is injured,
No.
Huh?
Their best defender is injured, and he's being replaced by a rookie. And also their best tackling linebacker is injured. So they do have two key injuries. And T.Y. Hilton has either a hamstring or a knee, and he may or may not play. And you know that T.Y. Hilton is like 90% of their offense.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I would expect John Gruden to be able to put up some points. So I'm thinking like 24-21, hopefully us on top, But my predictions have been way off. So
okay, but now what was your score again?
24-21, something like that,
Okay, I can see that because again, our defense needs to gel up, and that we'll see if that happens. And I will be looking. I'll be looking for you guys on Sunday after the game. Get the word out that the captain does have an after-game show. It just depends upon how long it takes for me to get back to wherever I'm staying after the game.
All right. Well, I'll make sure to share it.
Okay. Well, you take care, partner, and we'll hear from you, and we'll try to work out that issue that you were having. I don't know why. I mean, I'm not going to say it on here, but we'll try to work that out when I get time.
All right, cool. I appreciate it.
All right, and that is always good hearing from Raider Homer in Texas. So we're good to go there. And I'm going, like I said, I'm going to tell people again. This is the Ask Captain Jack show. As long as people are civil, okay. As long as people are civil, and you're allowed to make your opinion. Okay, just don't be a dick. And Bob was saying that in his opinion, he thinks that Gruden is messing us up. So we'll see. Now, Gruden didn't mess us up in week 1. but in Bob's opinion, he's messing us up in weeks 2 and 3. Now, the Niners, who are 3-0 right now and are a very good team, I don't know if they're the best team in the West. I think that's going to be a very tight race as it is. I mean, the Cardinals aren't anything, so you can count them out. Okay, there you go. Thanks for the information. Clinton was saying that T.Y. Hilton didn't practice today because of the quad injury, which is what I was telling you about. And if I think that they're probably going to have to save him for the game. If they don't have their best receiver, and of course their best running back is Marlon Mack, and I saw Marlon Mack when he was here playing for University of South Florida. He is a very good player, so don't count out Marlon Mack. And there is my lovely lady. I love my Valerie. How you doing, darling?
Hi, how are you? I'm seeing that you're getting better. That's good.
Well, I as long as I don't have my coughing fits, and that occasionally happens, but I'll try to keep. That's why I tell people, let me shut up, and I want to hear from you too.
Okay. Well, as long as we've been fans, we've seen since the 70s, we've seen greatness, we've seen shitty, we've seen in between, we've seen it all. And for me, I think I was super excited about this year, like I am every year. But this year, we thought we had AB coming in and just things, Tyrell Williams and Jacobs, and our future looked good, right?
Yeah.
So we come out like ball busters, game one, beat a division opponent and start off great against the Chiefs, and then what the hell? Like, where are they?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Where the hell is the team? What's happening?
Like I said, man, I think they took like a tranquilizer dose after the first quarter of the Chiefs game, and they are still heavily sedated because they have not played up to the capabilities that they did in that first quarter since. Now, they played good against Kansas City. They seem to have woken up in the second half, at least keeping Kansas City out of the end zone, but the offense is still not woken up. The offense has still been asleep since the first quarter against KC because other than the flea flicker, and that was the only offense that I've seen in 2 games in a while.
Yeah.
And I said the garbage touchdown at the end to I think it was to Williams. Yeah, he was so wide open he could have had a hot dog and a Coke and a quickie from a cheerleader by the time anybody had a chance to get on him. But that was garbage time touchdown. They need to come out and play with the enthusiasm that they showed in the first game, Valerie, and I want to see it too.
Yeah. Is Trent Brown, is he back?
Well, Trent was still, I'll have to check the injury report. He left the game a couple different times last week. And to be honest, when they were down 20 points at the final, why bring him back at all?
Yeah.
I mean, I did see Parker, end the game. And I told the guy that was next to me, Odin, the Greek god of, I guess the Greek, the Mac Daddy of the not the Greek gods, but the Norse gods. He was sitting next to me, great guy. And I said, hey, watch our right tackle. He's like a turnstile. Well, he didn't let in anybody, but by that time, the Vikings were already calling off the dogs. They were so disinterested. They just wanted to see the game end. Parker didn't allow a sack, but it's because of lack of effort on the other side. So what we definitely need to see if Brown is playing, because if Brown does not play, with that tackle position on the right side, it is a critical position. And, obviously Miller needs help on the left too. So we're kind of suspect at the tackle position. And Miller, this is his second year. I mean, it's Parker's second year too, but Miller was more highly touted. So we need him to turn it on this year because, again, year 3 is your usual make or break year for tackles. They either have it or they don't. And the jury's still out, and hopefully we'll see something.
I don't think he has it. I've not been impressed with him at all. And our defense, I mean, everybody's ripping the offense apart. We allowed almost 500 passing yards from Mahomes. Just him, one game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where are they? What the hell are they doing? And why this doesn't seem to be a priority for our team to get defense? Because we all know defense wins championships.
Right. Well, they did address that, though. They addressed that in free agency. There you go. Nikki says that Brown is questionable. I think he'll play, though, Nikki, because again he was questionable last week as well. They did address defense. They got the safety in Abrams. They got the cornerback. They got two cornerbacks in Mullen and the other guy who's on the IR right now. They also picked up Vontez Burfict. Granted, he's a little long in the tooth, but he is the greatest thing that's happened to our defense as far as knowing the system in quite a while. So They did address the defense. They picked up Crosby, Farrell, and then also Bell as pass rushers. So it's going to take a bit for all of those guys to get together with Hurst, with P.J. Hall. Remember, those are our high picks from last year. So they've been addressed. They just need for these guys to play solidly together. And it's still going to take this year. And that's why I said, don't get pissed off if the Raiders are 7-9 or 8-8. I mean, 8-8 is a great year because of the amount of travel and the amount of gelling that they have to do.
Yeah. Well, losing Abrams, I feel, since that has happened, since he went out the first game, what a difference.
Yeah.
Like there's no drive in our defense. There's no heart. They don't seem to. I don't know. It seems like they're sleeping on the field. I don't know. It's just crazy.
There has been a major drop off in the secondary, and I agree with you. So, are you going to be heading out to any games this year that I need to know about there, Val?
Yeah, we're trying. My girls and I, we're trying to pick which one. We're leaning towards the Lions game.
Okay. Well, I will definitely see you for that one.
Yeah. So, well, I'll keep in touch and let you know. But I kind of feel that this weekend, this is kind of a make or break. We have to win this, put this at 500. If we don't win this, you look at the rest, you know what our schedule looks like.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. Like I said, if you don't win this weekend, the chances of winning in London against a very stout Bears defense is minimal. So you're looking at 1-5 at the break. And Ed Winchell gave you a great compliment. Says Valerie knows her football. That's why I love her, Ed. She's awesome. I love me some Valerie.
Well, I've been following my Raiders since 1975, so I've been around a while, and I've watched a lot of football.
She was watching her Raiders in 1975 when she was at the age of 2, so that's always good to know.
Oh, God, I love you.
I love you more. Hey, you take care, honey. You think we're going to win this weekend? What's the score?
Yeah, I kind of think it's going to be like 21-13.
Okay, so 3 people with actually that's a pretty good margin. That's 8. So I like your margin. I hope it comes true, honey. Hey, make sure you follow after the game. Tell people to call in after the game as well. And I love you to death. And you take care. Keep up with me now.
I will. I'll let you know.
All right,
bye.
Darling. All right, bye-bye. And I love me Valerie. I love me some Valerie. That is why you gentlemen need to pick up your game, because Valerie knows her shite, and she's awesome, and she's beautiful too. So that's a great package. A beautiful lady who knows her football. So you can't beat that with a stick. Plus her daughters are awesome. And was it her niece and daughter? Well, her daughter's married. I think her niece is too. But they're beautiful ladies, and they know their football. And they hang out with the captain. What can't you not like there? Line is open, 813-699-0834. We've had positive spin. Well, Ed, no, she's not. She's not. But Oh, okay. I take it she is. I thought she would. I thought she had a steady, but that was a little while ago. But stand behind in line. Hey, stand behind me in line, Ed. Stand behind me in line. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. Line is open 813-699-0834. I don't think you can beat Valerie. If you think you can top Valerie, go ahead. And like I said, gotta give love to Nikki as well. Like I said, love my DC wenches up there, and gotta love them. It's true, Val. He's got to stand behind me. I'm just saying. Line is open 813-699-0834. The royal we are all picking the Raiders. I know you had to ask, Ed. She's beautiful. And she knows her football. And she's awesome. 813-699-0834. We did hear from Ed. We did hear from Frank Rizzo. We did hear from, was it Ed, Frank Rizzo, and Valerie, and I'm missing somebody. Who did I? And Homer. Okay. So we've had 4 people on this. I like this when we have snap, man. More good people, man. Get those calls in, because this way I won't have. I mean, I'm going to talk. But this way it kind of saves my voice. So again, and I will go back to saying this is the Ask Captain Jack show. So if you're going to ask me, if you're going to talk about your team, I'm surprised Jared hasn't come in yet, because Jared normally comes in and he talks about his Steelers, and that's great because that's his team. And if Bob wanted to talk about his Niners, great. There was another gentleman that I was talking to on the plane the other night. He's a Pats fan. Also, my buddy Doc, not Doc from Missouri, or where's he live? He either lives in Missouri or the mountains somewhere up in Virginia. I actually for Virginia, because he's out by UVA land. That's one Doc. The other Doc is a Pats fan. People can call in. People can call in and talk about their team, and I'm going to listen, and we're gonna discuss it, because this is the way the show goes. You drive the content. Excuse me. You drive the content of the show. Now, I can't see a score. I can't see a score because I have my sound on my Bose system. Here, let me put it down to 0. And in this way, it'll just go off. And then this way, I'll be able to see a score. There we go. But I just saw, was it a return? Can't tell. But it should say pretty soon what the score is. Oh, it's tied? Wow. Jared Lingleton told him, you know, who might be. No. I have to doubt seriously, would Antonio Brown. First off, the Steelers don't want anything to do with Antonio Brown. Now, if that's reports that he's going, okay, that's reports. I want to know what the sources are. I am an analyst, and I always ask, if I get information, I says, what's the source? How credible is the source? Because if it's not a credible source, I don't want to. I think it's BS. So okay, there we go. Stephen A. Smith, thank you there, Ed. A. Stephen Smith. ASS. I still don't know whether that's credible. Don't care. And by the way, I was saying this earlier because there was a story about him coming back to football. I didn't read the story, but the headline is what caught me. Ex-Raider wants to come back to football. ex-Raider. The man never took a snap. Never took a snap in a practice. We talking about practice. Not a game, but practice. Mike, Sarah, how you doing there, brother? Mike, you here? Mike, you here? Mike, can you hear me? Hello? Mike is at the weight room, I know, because normally every time he calls me, he's working out. Mike, can you hear me? Mike.
Hello. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I had to turn my headset off. Sorry.
Okay. I'm screaming, Matt. You're not doing good things for my voice.
I'm sorry. I had my wireless headset on, and I didn't know it was still on, so I was trying to disconnect it so I could talk regular on the phone.
Excuses. All right, brother. You're already behind the 8 ball with me. You made me.
I know. Listen, I know everybody's got their opinion, and I know this. You are the host, and you welcome everybody. I understand that. I just don't like people coming on and saying stuff that they know nothing about.
Well,
and to criticize Gruden the way he did, this guy knows nothing about Gruden. He knows nothing. He hasn't been following the team like we have. We know what's going on.
Okay, that's true. But I mean, he wasn't nasty about it. He wasn't an a-hole.
No.
And he
wasn't.
As long as people, they can have dissenting views on here, but as long as you're, clean and civil, I take everybody on. So that's good. Now, I will admit, I got in trouble on one of the Raider boards because there is not Raider homer, but there is such a homer on this board that the Raiders are going to be 16-0 and that they have the greatest team in the world and yada, 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 yada. And I'm telling this guy, and then the one guy says that if they play the way that they're playing now, they're going to get their ass kicked in London. He goes, no, they're not, because they don't have Donald Penn at left tackle like the rest. I said, dude, take an effing chill pill. And I didn't swear. I put effing, and I said shite instead of the, and this guy.
He must not have watched that game the other night in Washington when he was getting beat by Cleo Mack.
Right, exactly.
I'm sorry, 50-who the whole game.
Yeah, 50-who. But that was the thing. He said, no, the Raiders are going to win because they don't have Donald Penn at left tackle. I said, dude, they got Colton Miller at left tackle, and right now I'm not really impressed with him. I think he can be okay, but if he's going up against 50-who and Danny Trevathan and all that Big Bears defense, I don't see a win if they don't come out.
It's going to be a long day.
Right. But I tell you, by the way, I was laying him out on facts and analytics, but then he started getting pissy with me, and I just wanted to reach through the screen, on the keyboard and strangle the motherfucker. Yes,
it gets nasty on Facebook. I've been there. I've seen it.
Oh, it wasn't Facebook. It was one of the Raider sites, but that's.
Oh, okay,
that's
yeah.
So anyway, talk to me, Mike. What's going on this weekend? What are we going to see?
Well, here I just want to. I know you've probably been watching this game tonight, but I'm watching Aaron Rodgers out there, and I think Carr needs to watch this. And I'm seeing Aaron Rodgers get pressure, and I know Aaron Rodgers is future Hall of Famer. I mean, this guy's incredible. But he does something that I haven't seen Carr do yet, and that's step up in the pocket. It seems like when Carr gets pressured, he moves backwards. And I'm watching Aaron Rodgers tonight, and he's getting pressured a lot. He steps up in the pocket and makes the play. And, it's easier said than done. I know. I'm not a quarterback. I'm nowhere close to what he would ever be. But I'm just saying those are some of the things he has to. I think he has to feel the rush coming on. He has to have some kind of a feeling about it and move up into the pocket and make the play. I've seen Rodgers do it like 4 or 5 times tonight, and it's incredible. And I know Rodgers is a Hall of Famer, so you can't compare those two. But I'm just making an observation.
Okay, and I agree there. Now he does need to step up, but if he's stepping up and the guard or the tackles, because we're not having too much trouble with the guards. The guards are playing even the first 2 games with Good and Devy, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. They played okay, and So if he's stepping up, but the tackles are letting their guys in on the inside, then he's stepping right up into a sack, and so that's an issue as well. So he needs a clean pocket, and it looked like he had a very clean pocket against the Broncos. Why? Because he went to a quick passing scheme where the ball was out in about 2.7 seconds or less, and we were running well with Jacobs. Now, the last two games, other than the first quarter against the Chiefs, that has not happened. He's been holding onto the ball longer because the receivers are not getting separation, and the running game is not where it should have been against a really good defense in Minnesota, and then they were playing way behind because of the second quarter against Kansas City, which took them out of their game plan. Now, the Colts are not as good as these two teams that they played the last 2 weeks have been. So they need to go back to a consistent game plan where Carr can do the quick strikes to these receivers. They need to get separation, and I think they can do that against the secondary in Indianapolis, and they need to have a good running game. Like I think it was I can't remember who, Frank Rizzo was telling me that he expects a very good game with Jacobs because he's coming back. He's not got the symptoms of the flu or that. We need a good running game. We need that pounding game that needs to produce.
To open up the passing game.
Right, and I think that's going to happen.
Yeah. And the other thing is, and I know people are just really wailing on Gruden lately. And what I've seen of Gruden, he had a press conference today or yesterday, and he had mentioned a couple things. He said the reason why we're struggling, one of the reasons why is because we don't have AB and we plan for AB. Now, I know that's kind of ridiculous to bring him up. Oh, I'm being knocked out. I'll let you go.
All right. Hey, call back again, Mike. We'll see you again.
All right, we'll do. All right, bye.
Bye. Houston Steve, what's going on, brother? Good to hear from you.
Good to hear from you, shipmate. I tell you what, I've been hearing a lot of great things, Captain, about the hospitality and how great the people are up in Minneapolis. Could you elaborate on that? I've heard all these really great things about what great fans they are.
They are. I mean, I tell you what, I was welcome to every place that I went by. You know, obviously people like to take pictures when I walk by, but it was a welcoming experience. I only had, and it was very even slight. I had one kid he was young and he had some alcohol on him, so he had a bit of a tood with me. And that was and another kid was stupid, and then I looked at him and he was wearing a Randy Moss jersey, and I kind of went back at him. I said, "Listen, you're wearing a Randy Moss jersey. That's all I need to see." But everybody else, those are the 99. Those are the .02 that I had issues with, and not even really issues. The rest of everybody that I saw up there was so nice and accommodating, and they're all pro-military. I mean, it was wonderful about that. They all thanked me for my service and things like that, and they're just genuinely wholesome, upper Midwest. I just wanted to take them all home with me because they were that awesome. And I swear, if you go to a game and it's not a Raider game, go to Minnesota, man. Like if when the Raiders are off during their off week, if you can get tickets, because they're hard to get, but if you can get tickets, go to Minnesota and just hang out with them and tell them I told you to, and wear your Raider gear, because they don't care who you are. They're accommodating, and they just want to. They thank everybody for coming over there. That's just how they are.
Isn't that great? That gives you, a lot of solace and everything, knowing that there's such great people. But I was going to say that I'm sure they're pretty knowledgeable about sports and everything, as far as the history of the NFL and everything. Because as you know, Captain Jack, this is the 100th year anniversary, and it gives you goosebumps when you hear about all the different teams like the Canton Bulldogs and all the Portsmouth team that went up to Detroit and all the other great teams, of course Green Bay and Chicago and the Cardinals. It's interesting because I was lucky enough to know a gentleman by the name of Les Hussman, who played actually for the Chicago Cardinals, and then from there this is really interesting. And then he ended up in Dallas, and he talked to Tom Landry, and he said, Coach Landry, I'm thinking about, I've got to be honest with you, I'm thinking about going to the other league. And Coach Landry says, well, I don't know if that's a good idea. You know, the NFL, we're more stable than the NFL. And he said, but he went ahead and went. He went to the Houston Oilers, and the person that Tom Landry replaced him with was the legendary Bob Lilly. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, that's awesome.
I know. And so he was a great player for the Oilers and everything as a defensive end and everything, and he's in the Nebraska Hall of Fame. But it's interesting when you talk to different people, different fans and everything, the super fans and just your everyday fans, that when you talk to people and they tell you all about Drew Pearson and the battles between Minnesota and Dallas and between them and, of course, the Green Bay Packers and all that. You learn about the history of the league. It's just fascinating when you hear, people like Jim Thorpe and Bronco University and all the other great players. It gives you goosebumps, doesn't it, Captain?
Yeah, it does. In fact, Jim Thorpe was so awesome that they changed the town in Pennsylvania and honored him with that name of Jim Thorpe. So Jim Thorpe is a city, or I should say a small township in Pennsylvania. I know what it used to be called, and that's a good trivia question. You always ask me these trivia questions. Do you know what Jim Thorpe used to be called, Steve? What its true name was? It was called Mock Chunk. And that's a very, it's a trivia question that most people don't know, but it was Mock Chunk. And then they changed the name to Jim Thorpe. Now, since you are also a historian, who is the only NFL franchise to have their championship taken away from them?
Oh, wow. Could you give me a clue of what decade it was, or maybe you can't?
It was in the 20s.
Okay. Wow. It'd have to be one of the older franchises.
Right.
It couldn't be maybe Chicago or the Bears, maybe, or the Cardinals, or
no.
It has to be one of the original ones. It probably wasn't the Steelers.
No, it wasn't the Steelers. The name of the franchise were the Pottsville Maroons, and they were a bunch of coal miners for the most part. And at that time, you played for a team, but you also worked, and they were the best team in the NFL or professional football. And the reason why they had their championship taken away from them, and it was actually the only championship that I can remember that the Cardinals won their championship in the NFL, was because that they bitched about the Maroons playing Notre Dame and winning against Notre Dame, because at that time the rules were such that it wasn't like, remember, college in those days was the premier of football. You went to the NFL, you were basically like going to, like, from the major leagues to AA. And so when the Maroons played the four horsemen of the apocalypse for Notre Dame, they won, but the Cardinals actually bitched about them playing them, and they took the Maroons championship away from them, and they gave it to the Cardinals. And it's the Maroons were so pissed off that they had a trophy made from anthracite coal, beautiful coal, up in the region up around there. Anthracite coal is like a shinier, softer coal, and they had basically like their Lombardi trophy was like a football made from anthracite coal, and that they kept it in the town for the longest time as their trophy for winning the championship. And if you guys want to read a great book, it's called The Breaker Boys, and it's about that team.
Yeah, there's a book called, I think it's just called Champions. Is that the same book, or is that a different book?
No, it's called Breaker Boys. Breaker Boys, because they were the Breaker Boys were the coal breakers, and they were a lot of the, like I said, they were made up of a bunch of coal guys. Hey, Steve, we've been on a while, and I apologize. What do you think is going to happen this weekend?
I think we're going to go out and win in Indianapolis. What do you think, Captain?
I think so. I honestly think that if we play up to where we should be 2-2, going into a very tough game in London. I don't care what the score is, because The great Al Davis said, just win, baby. And the Raiders will win by at least one, obviously. And I think that we will play up to our potential, and I think we're going to go into Indy and win.
Like John Belushi said, it's not over until we say it's over, Captain. It's great to talk to you, Ship. Good health to you and to everybody else, and we'll talk to you soon. I always enjoy your shows. You're a good man.
All right. Hey, thanks again for calling there, Steve. You take care.
You take care. Bye.
All right. That's Houston Steve, and we are over on time. I wanted folks to be sure to head on over to go to Raider Bear. So what we're going to do is this. We're going to do our outro, and hopefully you guys are hearing the outro music. I hear the outro music. So it's been wonderful. Make sure you're heading over to the Raider Bear page. He's having his program now, I'm sure. I haven't seen any of the things pop up, but I'm sure he's doing that. I also know that I gotta get what is it? I have to actually. Which one I'm looking for? I got to pack because I have my stuff ready to go, but I have to get my other clothes together. So remember, I will be here after the game on Sunday. Nikki, I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to address that. Nikki, I swear if you're still here, please call in on that. That is a very good question. And I want to see if the question is still up in the same after this weekend. I want to see how the Raiders defense play. Okay, I want to see how the Raiders defense play. So, Nikki, if you can, or somebody get a hold of Nikki now, make sure that she calls in. Y'all take care. It's always a pleasure to hear from you. I will be here after the game on Sunday. Until that time, I just maybe a little one. Yeah! Oh man, that hurt. We'll see you after the game. Take care, everybody, and Raider on and always.